already happened, that it's going to happen shortly, that legislation is being passed by the state of Michigan that allows the federal government in partnership with the state to expand access to Medicaid and provide additional services to individuals under 21, so making sure that our kids are covered and have these additional services, as well as pregnant women. And I want to thank the state of Michigan working with us to develop that plan. Thanks to the USDA, and Debbie Stabenow has been outstanding in guiding this, and obviously the rest of the Michigan congressional delegation have worked hard on this as well. USDA is making sure that infants get the formula that they need, and that children are getting access to healthy food. There are a couple of things that I want to address to the press directly. I'm going to have a chance after this meeting to meet with a number of Flint families so that they can address directly to me their fears and concerns as well as their hopes. And then I'll have a chance to speak to a larger audience after that. But a couple of things that I want to focus on right now. Number one is that it is really important, particularly with this expansion of Medicaid, that any parent in the city of Flint takes the time to check to make sure that their kids aren't affected, that they don't have elevated lead levels. And I know that that can be hard. Sometimes folks have difficulty accessing the system. One of the things that we spend a lot of time talking about is how do we make sure that there's enough community outreach so that people know that there are doctors out there and health providers who will see their children. But I want everybody in the city of Flint to just know that you should have your child checked, because although lead poisoning or lead impacts can be serious, what is also true is that there are a lot of ways to address whatever concerns are raised and to make sure that those kids are healthy and are thriving. So the key is to know, like any other situation where your kid might get sick or have some sort of environmental impact, you got to know what's going on and then take the steps that are needed to make sure that they get the treatment or the help that they need. And if you don't know, then that could end up leading to problems. So we're really going to emphasize parents accessing the expanded health care providers that are going to be available here in the city of Flint. That's point number one. Point number two, I know that there's a lot of suspicion about whether or not the water coming out of people's taps in their homes are safe, or whether they're still contaminated and still a problem. And I want to emphasize that the EPA has looked at this very carefully, and they are very confident that if you use a filter, then it is safe for kids over 6. We're still, out of an abundance of caution, recommending bottled water for children who are under the age of 6 or pregnant women. But if you're over 6, then in fact, filtered water is safe and it works. And that's not just the opinion of federal agencies. A lot of independent studies have been done to confirm that the water is safe. So working with the state and the city, filters are now available for everybody in this city. And the key is for people to go ahead and access them and use them. And I'm going to emphasize this when I'm speaking to the larger audience. I understand why people might be mistrustful and concerned, but right now it is safe for you to install a filter in your home or to use a standalone filter and to go ahead and drink that water. But you got to use it, and it's available to you for free. But people have to have confidence that that will work. That doesn't mean that we still don't have to replace a number of the pipes in this city. and the mayor is working hard on a plan to fast track getting pipe replacement, and the governor is budgeting dollars to expand that program, and the congressional delegation of Michigan is working hard so that we get additional funds to help replace those pipes that pose a threat. But that may be a long-term process. It may take a year. It may take 2 years. It might take more to get all the pipes replaced. And in the meantime, folks have to be able to use water. So trust that the tests have been done and the filter system works. Third point, in order for us to clean out the system, to flush out the contaminants, and to have confidence that as we fix the system, it's actually going to be safe for all the households in Flint, we need everybody in Flint to start helping us flush out that system. And so I guess there's a program called Flush for Flint. It's not the most elegant name. But the concept is pretty simple if you think about it. And that is, we need everybody to turn on their tap, in the kitchen, in the tub, for 5 minutes a day, so that the water's running and whatever contaminants are sitting in there start getting pushed out. And what that allows us to do is then to go back after some water's been running and the flushing has taken place, then the EPA can go back and test some more and see, all right, where are the levels now? How are we doing in terms of coating the pipes? Is what steps being taken, are they being effective, or do additional steps need to be taken? But we're not going to know that if people just let the water sit there, right? And I understand if people are scared and they're not using their water, that they may wonder, why is it up to me to be part of this process of fixing it? But the bottom line is if you're not doing your part, then these outstanding folks around the table who want to help can't do theirs. So I'm urging everybody in Flint to participate in this flushing program. Again, it's a matter of turning on your tap in the kitchen, in the bathroom, 5 minutes a day, just to get that water flowing, getting some of the contaminants out. It will then be retested after that. All right? Now, these are all short-term issues. And one of the things that we all emphasized here is that the city of Flint had suffered from some hard times and neglect long before this particular crisis. And what I'm encouraged by is, I think, a recognition at every level of government that we have to take what has been a crisis and see if we can turn this into an opportunity to rebuild Flint even better than before. The problems of water were a symptom of a broader issue, and that is a city that had lost a lot of resources, lost a lot of its tax base, was cutting a lot of services, and increasingly didn't have capacity. And so our goal here is to use this moment in which everybody's attention is focused to see if we can start rebuilding and moving Flint in a better direction. I'm confident that we can do that if we're all working together. And I emphasize to the governor and I emphasize to the mayor that my job here today is not to sort through all the ins and outs of how we got to where we are, but rather to make sure that all of us are focused on what we need to do moving forward on behalf of the children of Flint. That's my priority, and that's got to be all of our priorities. And there are times for politics and there are times for turf battles. This is not one of those times. This is where everybody locks arms and is focused on getting the job done. And I'm very proud of the team Gina McCarthy at the EPA, Secretary Burwell at Health and Human Services, and everybody who's represented around this table, that's their commitment, and that's their order from me. And Dr. Lurie, who's been heading up the federal response, I think has been doing a great job in coordination here. But all of us are going to have to really keep our eye on the ball, even when the cameras go away. That's what we owe to the people of Flint, and that's what we owe to their kids. Last point. I think people are understandably scared when they hear that their child may have ingested some lead, it may have gotten into their system, and that may have some long-term impacts or create particular challenges for kids. But it is really important for all of us to remember that kids are resilient. And every kid in Flint is special and has capacity and can do great things. And the fact that they may have had some drinking water that was contaminated doesn't automatically mean somehow that they're going to have huge problems or that they're not going to be able to reach that potential. And so for the parents who are out there, I want to emphasize, get your child checked, but be confident that your child can thrive and will be fine as long as you know what they need and know how to access the resources that they need. It's useful to remember, just to keep things in perspective, that the laws banning lead paint in homes and reducing the lead that was in our environment, those laws really were put in place just a generation ago. When I was 5 or 6 or 7, a lot of homes still had lead paint in it. I might have ingested some lead paint when I was 2 or 3 years old, because at the time people didn't know it. So we've got an entire couple generations of Americans who've done really well, despite the fact that they may have had something that is not optimal. And how lead interacts with any particular child is going to be different, and what each child needs is going to be different. And some kids are going to be fine, and they're not going to be affected. Some kids may have more of it might have more of an effect. But the bottom line is that we now know what to do. We know how to mitigate these effects. But parents and communities have to be proactive in order to ensure that we're doing the right thing by our kids. We can't just sit back and feel panicked and feel scared. Those emotions are understandable, but if we want to make sure that our kids are properly taken care of, then we've got to be proactive and get out of ahead of this thing. All right? Thank you again, everybody, for the great work that you guys have done. Thank you, press. I will see you again in the larger rally. It is. There you go. Generally I have not been doing stunts here, but, and this used a filter. The water around this table, was Flint water that was filtered, and it just confirms what we know scientifically, which is that if you're using a filter, if you're installing it, then Flint water at this point is drinkable. That does not, I want to repeat, negate the need for us to go ahead and replace some of these pipes, because ultimately you want a system in which you don't have to put a filter on it in order to be assured that it's safe. But as a short-term measure, this is the right thing to do. And frankly, it's going to be a lot more convenient than people traveling long distances to try to lug back a bunch of bottled water. All right? Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys.
All right.
tragic situation here. But then upon further examination, it looked like they were, having a little
They were
fun
trying to,
time.
yeah.
They were, doing
Trying to
their
get a
business.
little, yeah.
Yeah, getting all romantic up there. So, yeah, so we were kind of watching.
And what
this all
time was
unfold.
this around?
So around 5:30.
Okay.
Around that time. So, both of them ended up making it down, but not before DPS had to shut that whole portion of the freeway down, the northbound lanes. Pretty much, not right in the middle of rush hour traffic, right in the beginning of it.
Yeah,
a lot of people
sure,
on the roads.
sure.
Phoenix Fire was on scene, Phoenix Police was on scene, DPS on scene. A whole bunch of people had to respond to this as they watched these people get down, making sure that they were safe. And
this was the guy, and then this kind of just sums it all up here, huh? He's like, wow, bust it.
Yeah.
This is the look of bust it.
Well, and then the woman, she, because when we got on scene,
the woman.
There she is. So when we got on scene, this is what we saw, the aftermath
Okay.
of it. And so the woman was kind of just up and taking a couple sips of water
Yeah,
here and there.
she was very like,
Yeah,
this
she was
happens
like,
every other week to me. Yeah.
Well, and when I later talked to her, it does. She said that she normally goes up there and kind of self-reflects, and it's her kind of zen space up there on the pedestrian bridge overlooking I-17. And so she, I don't know, seemed unfazed by all of this.
Yeah, she was.
Where her friend seemed a lot more embarrassed. So they got down safely, and we were on scene for about 10-15 minutes. They were talking to police, and then they were issued citations for trespassing and let go, and that's when we were able to talk to them.
I gotcha. And they were,
or at least to her.
They were. Let's just play that right here.
Okay.
And we'll listen in.
Were you having sex?
No, we were going to, but no.
I mean, embarrassed, or what's going through your head right now?
I think it's pretty awesome.
You think it's awesome?
Yeah, but I'm not. This isn't awesome, and the traffic got to stop is not awesome. But what we were gonna do is gonna be awesome.
And there it is.
What we were gonna do was gonna be awesome. So she told me that they weren't having sex yet.
Yeah.
That they were about to. That they had their clothes on. DPS saying, as far as they could tell, they had their clothes on. But from some of the earlier video that we were seeing, it did not look like that.
Now, were you surprised that she was willing to talk?
Yes. Are you kidding me? Normally, I get shut down all the time by people in these sorts of situations. So we're like, might as well. I mean, we'll go up and ask her, but then she's like, hey, my name's Magenta, and here's my story. And yeah, she said, like I
now at this
before,
point, was the guy long gone?
He was kind of in the side, off to the side, just kind of going like this the whole time. He did not say a word, did not want to be on camera. We don't know his name. We just know her name is Magenta.
Wow. So a lot of people would describe this, if this ever happened to them, as probably the worst time of their lives. And and she's doing interviews.
Oh yeah, just no care in the world. I'd be like, my mom is gonna kill me. But no, she was just willing to talk about it, which was a huge surprise.
Yeah, as well. Love was kind of in the air today, or should I say, love was above the freeway?
Yeah, I guess it was in the air. Yeah.
Talk about your story this morning.
Okay.
And I'll play some video over the top here.
All right. So around 5:30 this morning.
Okay.
There was a situation on the freeway that was described to us as a police situation. So we have an ADOT camera that is always pointed in this direction of the I-17 around Bethany Home. And so these cameras are always running. So we went and looked at this camera, and we saw a couple people on top of this bridge. And of course, our first concern, our first instinct here is, oh my goodness, what are these people doing? Is this about to be a really tragic situation here? But then upon further examination, it looked like they were, having a little
They were
fun
trying to,
time. They were, doing
trying to
their
get
business.
a little,
Yeah, getting all romantic up there. So, so we were kind of watching.
And what time was this around?
So around, we get ready to go and do a live shot, and we see these two people, sitting there, and we were super confused. And right before my live shot, I get a call from my executive producer. Hey, by the way, we've been watching, and we think that they might have been,
Getting
so it went from this preparing myself for this tragic situation to just the most ridiculous thing that you could possibly imagine. But we laugh about it, but at the same time, this was such a waste of resources. DPS, police, and fire all having to be there, having to shut this huge freeway down.
Yeah.
On top of the fact it was dangerous.
Yeah.
This thing's about
Look
30
at this
feet
thing.
high. Yeah, they could have fallen not only onto the ground, that would have been lucky if they fell onto the ground and not onto the freeway, with all these cars are.
And how much was the citation, did they say? Or
They didn't say.
No.
They didn't say. It was a trespassing citation that they both got. We didn't get that detail. They left before that.
Wow.
Yeah.
But I wonder, it looks dangerous just trying to get up to this spot.
And we were right under there because we went after a couple of our live shots. We went and looked. I don't know how they did that.
Yeah.
And she does it by herself apparently all the time. I don't know how.
Wow.
Yeah. But there was also this moment too that we were watching when she was coming down because when they got caught, he hightailed it out of there.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
like, bye.
Yeah, bye.
He left, and she was kind of more struggling the whole time. He didn't even try to help her, but there was this moment where she dropped her purse onto a police officer that we have it. I don't know if you can, but we have it on.
Let's see if we could find it.
The police officer's okay.
Okay. Do you recognize any of these shots?
Maybe go up. Maybe not.
Okay. Well, was he okay?
He's okay. It's in my story tonight if you want to watch it.
There we go. Nice.
If you want to watch it, fine.
I like that tease.
Yeah. But it was just the whole thing's just ridiculous. Everyone's okay. Everyone's safe. But it was just quite a morning.
And this should teach a lesson to everyone. There's cameras on you all the time when you're out in public, right? I mean, this just shows you if you're getting caught on a pedestrian bridge, there's times where you don't even know you're on camera.
Well, the Department of Transportation in most big cities, really everywhere, has freeway cameras along all of these big stretches of interstate.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, this was, I don't think she ever realized that, but yeah, that camera's rolling all the time.
Yeah. Well, I wonder if they went home and kind of rekindled something there. Or...
I don't know.
Yeah,
and
or
I don't care. These people are crazy.
Yeah, but
Crazy.
I could just imagine you though with when she was willing to talk. You're probably like in your head like, this is awesome, this is great, but why?
Yeah.
Why are you doing this?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it was probably stupid to talk to the media, after something like that, and then to say your quote and all of this was, "It was awesome."
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a good way to brand yourself.
And what we were going to do was awesome. So, well, there we go. Well, it just shows you just never know what your story's going to be.
Never know. Life of a morning reporter.
Yes, there you go. Well, thank you so much, Liz, for describing your weird kind of day you had.
Yeah, that's an understatement.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much.
Yeah,
You have a good one. And we're going to look at the White House right now.
Pretty good chance to win there as well. And then we're going to another bunch of other states, culminating in the largest state in the United States with the most delegates, and that is the state of California, and we think we have a pretty good chance to win there. And I think that as more and more delegates to the Democratic Convention take a hard look at which candidate is generating the kind of enthusiasm, excitement, voter turnout that we need to make sure that somebody like a Donald Trump does not become president. I think you're going to see more and more delegates concluding that that candidate is Bernie Sanders. And the reason for that is that the issues that we are talking about in this campaign are the issues that are on the hearts and minds of the American people. The American people are tired of working longer hours for low wages. 1%. They are tired of super PACs and a corrupt campaign finance system that allows billionaires to buy elections. They're tired of a broken criminal justice system, which enables us to have more people in jail than any other country on earth. They are worried about the future for their children. And they understand that unless we create an economy that works for all of us and not just the 1%, their kids are going to have a lower standard of living than they do, and we're going to see the end of the American dream, and we are not going to allow that to happen. And the American people understand that in this great country we can do what every other major industrialized country on earth is doing, and that is guaranteeing health care to all people as a right, and to guarantee paid family and medical leave, and by the way, to demand, when we have so much income and wealth inequality, that Donald Trump and the billionaire class start paying their fair share of taxes. So we feel great about tonight, not only in winning here in Indiana and accumulating some more delegates, but also gaining the momentum we need to take us to the finish line. And we are, we started this campaign way, way, way behind. Nobody, I think, would have dreamed that here at this particular point in May of 2016, not only would we be here, but we would be winning elections, but we are. So I sense a great deal of momentum. I sense some great victories coming. And I think that while the path is narrow, and I do not deny that for a moment, I think we can pull off one of the great political upsets in the history of the United States, and in fact become the nominee for the Democratic Party. And then once we secure that position, I have absolute confidence that we are going to defeat Donald Trump in the general election. Thank you.
How's the change?
Danny?
Senator Sanders, after tonight, it seems that Donald Trump is going to become the likely GOP nominee. Will you commit now to saying whether or not you think he is a racist?
Look, I don't have to label him. I think that he virtually every day has insulted one group of people or another, whether it is Mexicans and Latinos, whether it is Muslims, whether it is women, whether it is veterans, whether it is African Americans. Let us never forget that before Trump became a candidate for president, he was one of the leaders of the so-called birther movement, a movement which tried to delegitimize the presidency of the first African-American president we have ever had. I'll let the American people decide the appropriate label. But this is a man who does not have the demeanor, does not have the policy background or the ideas to become president of the United States. I would love to run against him, and I'm absolutely confident that not only we would beat him, but we'd beat him by a pretty large number.
How does the win in Indiana fundamentally change the race? Obviously, your delegate count
it's going to give us a great deal of momentum, because I think there are many in the media, like you and others, who have decided that the campaign is over. Well, I guess the people of Indiana did not quite agree with that assessment. You know? And I think you may be surprised to find out that the folks, and I'm not predicting, I don't know what's going to happen, but the people in West Virginia may not agree with that assessment. And the people of Oregon may not agree with that assessment. And the people in our largest state, California, may not agree with that assessment. So we understand, and I do not deny it for 1 second, that we have an uphill battle in front of us. But I think we have a path toward victory, although it is a narrow path. Our goal is twofold. Number one, to win a majority of pledged delegates. Number two, it is to make sure that in those states where we have won landslide victories, 65, 70% of the votes, that the superdelegates in those states listen to their constituents and vote the way their constituents voted in their states' primaries or caucuses. And thirdly, we are going to make the case to the superdelegates. Many of them, by the way, came on board Hillary Clinton's campaign before I was even an announced candidate. They were there way back when. Well, the world has changed in the last year. And I believe that we will be able to make the case to many of those superdelegates that what is most important is not whether Hillary Clinton or Bernie Sanders is the nominee. What is most important is that we do not allow someone like a Donald Trump to become president of the United States. And I think that according to every poll that I have seen in the last month, Bernie Sanders defeats Donald Trump in the national polls by greater margins than does Hillary Clinton, and Bernie Sanders beats Donald Trump by greater margins than Hillary Clinton in battleground state after battleground state after battleground state. In other words, I think the objective evidence is that I am the strongest candidate to prevent the Trump from becoming president.
Senator,
yes, Mary Else.
Senator, you said yourself this week that you would have to win 65% of the remaining delegates to match Hillary Clinton and pledged delegates. It's not looking like Indiana's going to be that kind of landslide.
It's a start. It's a start. I'm looking forward to, there are other states to come. And we are looking forward to winning in West Virginia, looking forward to winning in Kentucky, looking forward to winning in Oregon. And as you know, the state that has the most delegates is obviously California. And we already have a strong ground game in California. We have sent a lot of our people to California. We're going to run an unprecedented campaign in California. And with the help of the American people who have helped us so much right now with those $27 contributions at BernieSanders.com, you know, we have made history. We have 7.3 million campaign contributions, BernieSanders.com. And with the help of the American people, we're going to have the resources we need to win in California.
Senator, your fundraising dropped off pretty significantly.
You know, I read an article in the New York Times. What was the word you used? Plunged? How do we compare to Hillary Clinton? She ended up with a few dollars more than we did.
But for you, it dropped.
Well, you know,
more than 40%.
Well, because we were record-breaking. The issue is, I think we raised, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, $26 million? $26 million in a month. That is a pretty good sum of money from where I come from. When we began this campaign, nobody ever dreamed probably we'd raise $26 million for the whole campaign, let alone in 1 month. Yeah, so our numbers went down, and Hillary Clinton beat us by a few dollars. We're taking on the most powerful political organization in America. She raised $600,000 more than I did. Didn't see the New York Times make that point. So we feel pretty good, and we feel that today's victory will probably help us. But look, we have enough money. You know, everybody always wants more money. I don't have a super PAC. Secretary Clinton has a super PAC. But we have enough money to run a strong and winning campaign throughout.
How do you plan to maximize those resources to take you through California? Because that's a very expensive
California is an outrageously expensive state in terms of media. You're right. And clearly we're not going to be spending $100 million or whatever it takes on media in California. So we have to decide the best way to allocate our resources. I think that what the focus of our campaign will be actually what it has been up to now. And that is we're going to do a whole lot of rallies.
Yes, sir. Went to school here.
All right, folks, we are jumping in to show you President Obama.
Yes, sir. 76.
Roundtable discussion.